LeBron or Jordan?
Oh, come on. How you start there?
We got to start there. I mean, that's because I feel like that's what everybody want to know.
This is a hard one to say.
The easy one.
Because what if he hears this?
A woman like Angel Reese, what direction you think she should go in as far as her marketing her own brand?
I think she should go full force. Lean all the way in.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Wear some little short dresses that she likes to wear.
Yep.
Show the body.
Yep.
Like be at parties, dance on tables, drink a little bit, you know?
Yep.
Get mad on the
Yep.
court. Like do all of the things.
Yeah.
You know, because you need somebody like that.
Right.
To attract an audience that also feels that. I was more focused on like the storytelling of why you should use Uber. At the same time, LeBron was creating his production company. We shot a number of commercials together, and I hired my best friend, Carrie Champion, who's an amazing journalist. And then LeBron said he and KD would get in the Uber and be the passengers. They're driving around, Carrie is driving, she's asking them questions, she's getting a great interview. For the first time, he starts talking about his political beliefs. We had never heard LeBron talk about this stuff before, but I'm gonna release the entirety of the interview on YouTube. And Laura Ingraham, Fox News, saw it, and she was offended. And that's when she went on TV and said, we don't need to know his opinion. He just needs to shut up and dribble.
What work are you the most proud of?
This is gonna be a corny answer.
Come
My
on.
work as a mom.
Family's the most important.
It's so
That's the
like,
best work you can do.
Best work. Mary J. Blige was going through a hard time. So I thought, oh, well, we could do a TV show. And it was called Where's the 411? And she had maybe the interview of her life with Hillary. She knocked that joint out of the park. There's a song by Bruce Springsteen called American Skin. Mary decided to sing it a cappella. It was the most beautiful moment when it came time to promote the show. And I said, okay, this is the one I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use that clip. I was having a drink with Mav when the commercial came on air. And I remember my phone blowing up. People were like, this is the most cool thing I've ever seen in my life. Why is Mary singing, shucking and jiving for Hillary Clinton? Oh my God, they ate her up. And ate me up in the process. So I had to apologize to Hillary Clinton. I had to apologize to Bruce Springsteen. I had to apologize to Mary J. Blige.
Welcome to Score Society.
That's amazing. Thank you.
No problem.
I'm honored.
Thank
I've
you.
not yet been in a society like this. So
Yeah, it's an
know
elite
what I'm saying?
society.
I'm about to change my LinkedIn bio.
What you gonna do?
And put
it
it in there.
there.
I'd be like,
Put
I don't
it
know
in
if y'all
there.
know this, but I'm
Well,
part of the Score Society.
Score Society.
I didn't
There
know
you
you
go.
knew that. You think I'm playing? I'm not.
I want you to. Look,
You think I'm playing?
I know you serious.
Watch. You can see an
I know
update.
you. I know you.
It'll
You
be
serious.
like Bozoma Saint John updated her bio.
What's up, Scorers? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another special guest. No, more than special guest. Legendary guest.
Yeah.
In fact, a Hall of Fame guest.
Ooh.
She was the CBO for Uber, CMO for Endeavor, CMO for Netflix, founder of Eve by Bose, author of The Urgent Life, star of The Real Housewives in Beverly Hills. I said it. Not only a legend in the marketing game, but inducted in the Hall of Fame. And one of my favorites, she is God's favorite baby. Please
That's
welcome Bozoma Saint John.
Thank you. Yes.
How are you?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. God's
Yes.
favorite baby. I mean, it's like the best title.
Absolutely.
You know, regardless of the resume, that is the title. That I
Yeah,
love.
that's why I said my favorite
Yes,
one is
by
just that
far,
being
by far.
God's
Yes.
favorite. Now, you're from Ghana.
Yes.
You moved from Ghana at 12 to
Yeah.
Colorado Springs.
Yes, that's right.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
I lived in Colorado. If I went to school in Colorado, Alamosa, Colorado, 2 hours away from Colorado Springs.
Yeesh.
Very small town.
Yeah.
Where did you find like the aspiration, the motivation
Yeah.
to achieve the things you've achieved?
Right. Well, so my parents are from Ghana. I was actually born in the U.S., but we
Okay.
moved back to Ghana when I was like 6 months old, because my dad was one of the people who, like the U.S., the U.K., different parts in Europe, came to get from Africa. You know, the W.E.B. Du Bois called them the talented 10th.
Nice.
Right? Came and swept up the top 10%, brought them into the Americas or the UK and Europe for education.
Right.
And their mission was to just keep them. But my parents are revolutionaries and Pan-Africanists. And so after my dad got his PhDs, he's like, I'm out of here. Back to Ghana I go. You know?
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So after I was born here, we moved back. I was 6 months old. And so I obviously have no recollection of the U.S. at that point. So yes, my first real introduction to the U.S. was when I was 12.
Wow.
And going to Colorado Springs, it was such a strange thing because, you know, like, I think what people at that time knew of Africa was like the distended bellies, the flies on eyes, the, you know, 1 cent a day.
Yeah, that's my introduction.
Child, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I knew Africa so differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when I got to Colorado Springs, and people were like, "Oh, you speak English so well," and I was like, "We speak 5 languages in my home.
Really?
What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
You know? Or they were like, "Oh my gosh, like this is you look so nice. You dress so well."
Right.
And I'm like,
so your
are you
reality,
out of your mind?
your reality was completely different from what a guy like myself who inner city. I'm just up in the middle of the night watching a commercial.
Right.
And so what was your reality when you lived in?
Oh, it was exactly that, which is just like, look, we wore nice clothes, we drove a nice car, we lived in a nice house, we ate great food,
There you go.
we listened to good music, you know, parties were fantastic, school was awesome. Like, it was such a strange thing to me to come to the U.S. and then all of a sudden be seen as like lesser than. To be seen like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, it's like the pity in people's eyes when I said I was from Ghana.
Right.
And they were like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky that you left. And meanwhile, I'm like, I want to go back. Like, somebody get me up out of here. You know what I mean? I'm mad at my parents for bringing me here, you know? And I think also like the idea that in all kind of ways that I wasn't the standard. You know, I wasn't the standard for beauty, wasn't the standard for education, wasn't the standard for culture, wasn't the standard. Like, everything was assigned to me as lesser than immediately upon arriving in the U.S.
Wow.
And I'm very, very thankful, and I really do give all the credit to my parents about their own strength, their own resilience, their own, like, extraordinary sense of self.
Right.
You know, like, my parents weren't the type that were assimilating. You know, they
Well,
were
that's
like, look, we're here in the U.S., and this is fantastic. We want to be here. We want to make a life here. But don't you for 1 second think that we feel sorry about where we came from.
At any point did you feel like, all right, I want to stay in Colorado Springs? What made you feel like what made marketing be your?
Yeah.
How did you get into marketing
See, the thing is that, like, at the same time that my parents are really liberal and, you know, they love the arts and things like that, they were also very practical. And so they were like, look, you can have one of 3 careers. You could be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can be an engineer. Okay. Maybe an accountant. You know what I mean? And I was good at the sciences and math. Like, that was a natural ability for me. So I was pre-med in college. And I took the MCAT, and then right before I went to medical school, I was like, you know what? I want to take like a gap year. Wow. I want to go to New York. I want to sow my royal oats.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, that's fantastic for you, but we're not financing that. And so I was like, well, damn, I got to get a job, you know? Right. So I got a temp job, or I signed up with a temp agency. And they gave me the opportunity to, like, literally every day you call, and then you're sent somewhere else, right? It's like, you got to go walk dogs. I did National Geographic and, like, you know. And the call came one day where Spike Lee had fired his assistant. Right. And they needed somebody to come answer the phones. Nice. And I honestly think the only reason why the temp agency sent me is because I was the only black person that they had on staff.
What year was this?
This was 2000.
2000, okay.
Yep. And so I went to Spike's office, and he had just started his partnership with DDB, which is one of the biggest ad agencies in the world. It's the one that, like, Mad Men was made on.
Got you. Okay.
And so he had created a JV with them and was doing work as a commercial director and creating ads and stuff like that. So he did, like, the Mars Blackman, and, you know, he did stuff for the Knicks, of course, and Jaguar and Janet Jackson. And, you know, he was, like, directing all kind of commercials in between his film. And so I went to work at that agency, and that's how I got introduced to advertising. Wow. Yeah, so I had no idea before. So
when you were introduced to it, did you start to see the mogul that you are now, or was you just saying, like, hey, I don't mind working under Spike Lee?
I know, right? You know what's so funny is that, like, I always thought I'd end up going to medical school. You know what I mean? It wasn't a thought to me that advertising was a career. I really didn't even know it was one. I knew Spike was a great director. I knew that he could create commercials, but the idea that marketing and advertising was actually a career didn't occur to me. But what I loved about what we were doing at the time was that we were just taking ideas from pop culture and putting them into action around a brand.
Right.
And I felt very comfortable in that because I love pop culture.
Right.
You know, one of the advantages I had when we moved when I was 12 is that I had to get very, very, very smart at pop culture in order to connect with my classmates and different people, right? So it meant that, like, and by the way, at the time I got to Colorado Springs, like, the Denver Broncos were the kings of the country. You know what I mean?
I remember that. Yeah.
Look, John Elway was God.
Yep,
there was no, like, you couldn't.
He was the biggest quarterback around at that moment.
Yeah. Bronco Nation was strong, so I had to know about football very, very deeply. I had to understand all the sports. I had to understand fashion and music and like all of these pop culture concepts, and I studied them like it was like a PhD. You know what I mean? So by the time I got to Spike's office, and he's taking like pop culture cues to sell brands, it came so naturally to me, and I was really excited about it. So it's like if he had a question about what was cool or what were the kids doing or like, is this artist better than this artist? Oh, I was like, let me tell you, and that became like my secret weapon. It became my niche. And the turning point, really, I think I feel like a few like breakthrough moments, but the very first one was when he was pitching for PepsiCo's business. And at that time, they had like the big, superstar pop, like star as the person who'd take the drink shot.
Who was it at the time?
I think at the time it was like Britney Spears.
Okay.
Right? And they were looking for another one. And so Spike was like, trying to figure out like who would be it. And so he was asking everyone around the office, it's like, oh, who do you think? Who do you think? People were going on Billboard charts and being like, okay, how about this artist and that artist? And I had seen an MTV movie called Carmen, the hip opera, starring Beyonce Knowles.
Oh, yes.
And
I remember
Pied
that.
Pfeiffer.
I remember that, yep.
And it was so weird because it was like Carmen, the opera, but done in like hip hop. Like they were rapping the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was fascinated. I was like, this is brilliant. Now, of course, the critics thought it was terrible. But when Spike asked me, well, who do you think? Like, who do you think is like cool and blah, blah, blah? And I was like, oh, well, I just saw this movie on MTV starring Beyonce. And he was like, Beyonce, because the thing is, people forget. It's like now she's like bigger than life. They forget that at the time she had just left Destiny's Child. She was trying to be an actress. She was trying to have a solo career. And everybody panned her. There was an article in The Source where they said Ashanti is going to be bigger than Beyonce.
Yeah, I remember
No
that.
shade to Ashanti.
I remember when Beyonce was just doing like the red carpets for MTV.
This is what I'm telling you. Yeah.
Early on.
So it was that time. And so when I said, I think Beyonce's the one, and everybody else was like laughing and snickering at me, and he was like, I'm going to go watch it. And he watched it, and he was just like, she definitely has something. So he was like, all right, let's cast her in the commercial. And so we basically created a mini version of Carmen for PepsiCo. Nice. And it won. Nice. It was a hit. And so it was like, I mean, at that point.
So that was the breaking point for you.
That was my first break. Where it was like, okay, I have successfully identified who would be a great pop culture breakthrough artist for a brand.
So when you get that breakthrough, and now they're giving you a job, they're giving you responsibility, I'm pretty sure the budgets are smaller.
Yes.
At that moment, right?
Yeah.
How are you handling smaller budgets? And the reason why I'm asking this is because, although this is a basketball podcast, I still want to inspire and motivate. And a lot of us out here, we're working with very little budget, but we got to make the most of it. Yo. So how are you making the most out of this? And showing that, look, I'm a black woman in space and I can do anything I put my mind to, no matter what you give me.
Yes. Now, see, sometimes that's the benefit of being black.
Right.
And sometimes not having all the resources. Look, we are the most creative people on the planet.
This is very true.
Resourceful, like you would not. I mean, there has not been a situation where I've been like, oh, you give me 2 pennies to rub together and I haven't been able to create something.
Right.
Like, I could create out of anything.
Absolutely.
And so for me, it's like the idea of being without the resources has never stopped me. because it just hasn't been my experience.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
I mean, much later on was I given large budgets to work with. But even then, sometimes the decisions I had to make were based on small little budgets to make something really, really large.
Right.
Like, I'll give you an example. When
Yeah.
I was at Apple, right, I launched Apple Music. And so in the creation of Apple Music, we had to do a lot of education. Because music streaming wasn't known.
Right.
So it was at the very beginning. And something as like now common as the playlist, people didn't understand. They didn't know, it's like, okay, you just push play.
I'm still
and the
understanding.
music, right? It's like song after song after song. Anyway, I had a pretty big budget to manage for like big pop stars, right? Taylor Swift type.
Yeah.
Who I did cast in a commercial, and we had, great success with that. But I also knew that I had to get to women like me, who like listen to a lot of music, spend like drug dealers, and
Right.
like, just out here. You know what I mean?
Understandable.
I was like, they got money, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, we be
They
spending.
love spending.
We be
Just love-
spending.
Oh,
You
I
know
know.
what I mean? So-
I know.
So I was like, I gotta get them. But as you can imagine, up in Cupertino, in Silicon Valley, is not the place where you say like, hey, look, I think we should target black women between the ages of 35 and 44. For what?
Right.
Not when I got Taylor Swift in the bag,
Yep.
And so I had this tiny, tiny little budget, and I took it to Ava DuVernay, who at that time had only, she had directed a few films, but her biggest film to date had been Selma.
Okay.
So people thought she was a very serious director, Made some calls to Kerry Washington, Taraji P. Henson, and Mary J. Blige.
Well, shout out to them.
Shout out to them.
Yes.
Shout out to black women who show up.
Absolutely. Especially them.
And we got a house, like, in Hollywood for a
Right.
day. And I shot 3 commercials, actually 4, in that single day. Ava directed it. And the girls were, like, doing their thing. The whole point was to showcase what playlists were. And then I took that little tiny bit of money and bought one commercial time slot on the Emmys that year, because for the first time in history, 5 black women were nominated for Emmys.
Wow.
And I had that one shot.
Wow.
And I put the commercial in that one shot. And the next day, everybody was talking about it. And freaking Good Morning America, they were were like, we want to be hanging out with Mary, Carrie, and Taraji.
So you had the small budget,
Tiny.
budget.
Tiny.
Now you shot a video, right?
Yes.
How much was the video? How much it cost?
I don't even remember what the budget was, but let's put it this way. The budget for that commercial, if it was 5% of what I spent on Taylor Swift, I'd be lying.
No.
It was a tiny, tiny portion. But the thing is that I believed that could win. It's like the formula was like, oh, use, Taylor, use Drake, like, go
Right.
that direction, which was fine. But I was like, man, I also got to get to the niche. I got to get to these, to this particular audience. And so taking something that, was just a tiny little pot of money to put a bet on it and then see it explode meant that then I got more money to do the bigger, you know what I mean? So then I
Absolutely.
could actually like pay them well and do all the things. So it worked out. But my point is that like, just because I had this tiny little budget didn't stop me from being like, I want to do something significant. And I want to like really, look, I pushed all the chips in.
Right.
And said, this one commercial, this one spot, I'm going to do it.
Were you still in New York at this time?
No, I was in L.A.
You was in LA. Let's go back to New York.
Yeah.
Because you said Spike was a Knicks fan.
Yes.
Were you automatically a Knicks fan as well?
Look, well, no. However,
Uh-huh.
I would often sit in his seats when he wasn't in town.
Nice.
And so I became a Knicks fan through that experience.
What's the
I was a natural Knicks fan.
what's the most memorable game you went to? Do you remember that?
Gosh. The most memorable game?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. They had to be playing Indiana at some point.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Those games are always legendary.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that Spike is very generous, and so like even though I know, you see him in his seats all the time, at that time, sometimes he's just like, all right, you take it.
dope.
And I was
That's
freaking
dope.
23 years old.
That's
Like, I didn't
dope.
have, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Me and my homegirl would go and be sitting in the seats right there. And,
Uh-huh.
you know, so it was just such an amazing experience to be in the garden on those nights in spike seats. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, I can't even believe it happened.
So when you moved to LA, is that when you started working with Uber?
No, that's when I started working for Dr. Dre.
When
in
when,
Jimmy
when were you working with Uber? Was that
That was
in
here
New York?
too.
That was here too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that I want to know more about the your campaign with the NBA
with
campaign.
LeBron.
Yeah, rolling with the champions.
Yes,
Is that
yes,
right?
yes, that's
Rolling with
right.
champions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
oh my gosh,
what influenced that one?
That was a good one. Okay, so here's the real truth. Okay,
Uh-huh.
when I got to Uber, and again, I just want to paint the situation because you know when you look at my resume or like we talk stories, it just feels like okay, big thing, big thing, big thing. You know, but there was so much craziness happening all of the time. And so it's like, look, sometimes you can have success in the most chaotic of environments, you know? And so you should never look at the chaos and be like, oh, I can't do the thing.
Right.
It's like my whole career was built out of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I had just finished like my stint at Apple, you know? So I was pretty popular in Silicon Valley. People knew me, you know, knew my work for building Apple Music, all of that stuff. And I met Travis Kalanick, who's the founder and CEO of Uber.
Nice.
And he convinced me to become his chief brand officer because he was going through some tough times at the time and needed to grow the business. And when I was hired, 2 weeks later, he was fired from the job. Like, literally, the board took the job from him.
So how does that work? Obviously,
they voted him out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they didn't take you. You didn't have to get fired with him, though, right?
No. But it did create a hostile environment for me because I was hired by him, you know? And at the time, the interesting thing is that I was more focused on like the storytelling of why you should use Uber. Again, today it's like everybody uses Uber, and it's like it's part of our vernacular. But at the time, you're still trying to convince people that like you could get from point A to point B without being kidnapped.
What year was that?
This was 2017.
Yeah, I don't think was I excited about Uber? Was I?
I don't think so.
I don't think I was driving.
People were, people knew of Uber,
They're still skeptical to jump in a stranger car.
People kept saying that, like, you know, people get kidnapped and get killed and stuff like that. Like, it was not the most popular thing just yet.
Absolutely.
And, you know, so all the engineers and, like, you know, the tech heads were concentrating on the algorithm. You know, they want to make sure that if you requested a ride, the car comes in 3 minutes versus 5 minutes. And that was the competition, right? Because that was all tech.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, the reason we're going to win is that people trust us. They like us. They want to use Uber because it's cool. And the only way I could think of to do that was to like say that, hey, look, you can have like really amazing conversations in the Uber. At the same time, LeBron was creating his production company. And he was trying to find projects to work on, but nobody was giving him a chance because he's an athlete. And he didn't take him seriously.
Well, that was back in the shut up and dribble era.
So that came out of my time at Uber with LeBron.
Oh, wow.
So what had happened was we shot a number of commercials together. They were all right. You know, a couple of his friends, you know, put some basketball players in the car. And I hired my best friend, Carrie Champion, who's an amazing journalist.
Shout out to Carrie.
Shout out to Carrie. She was on ESPN at the time, and I was like, you know, she's an amazing interviewer, and so I was like, she can get stories out of people. If she's driving the Uber and ask them questions, she could do it. And then LeBron said he and KD would get in the Uber and be the passengers because they were the captains of the All-Star
I remember
game that year. So,
I actually remember this commercial. That's what sparked the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we go to Cleveland. They're driving around. Carrie is driving. She's asking them questions. She's getting a great interview. For the first time, he starts talking about his political beliefs. He says Trump is terrible. He has opinions about everything. He talks about when the N-word was like, you know, spray painted on his home in Bel Air and what he had to say to his sons. Like, we had never heard LeBron talk about this stuff before.
Yep.
So, and it was 17 minutes worth of amazing content. And at the time, it wasn't the time when it's like you put content like that out. Nobody was paying attention to that stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the 30 seconds and the 60 seconds. I'm gonna put it on the All-Star game. But I'm going to release the entirety of the interview on YouTube. And just if people want to see it, they want to see it. Dude.
Went crazy.
Went nuts. And Laura Ingraham of Fox News saw it.
Yeah.
And she was offended. And that's when she went on TV and said, we don't need to know his opinion. He just needs to shut up and dribble.
Wow.
And LeBron called me, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. And he was so pissed. And it was the hardest exercise for me on restraint, you know, because I was so pissed as well. And here's what's so funny. So I, created basically a press plan for us to go talk to everybody, for LeBron to be able to, have his opinion.
After the Uber
after that moment, like literally within 2 days, of that moment. And here's something I don't think I've shared before, which is that the morning before we went to do like our big interview, there was LeBron, Mav, and I. I had lunch with Colin Kaepernick.
Wow.
And we were supposed to be talking about something else. And I was like, yo, I can't even concentrate on this meeting because I'm so pissed. And I have to go do this interview. And I'm trying to figure out how to get our points across without just being like 3 angry black people.
Yeah.
And Colin gave me like such amazing advice, on restraint.
Wow.
And that's the thing that I don't think people give him enough credit for.
Kaepernick.
That like he is so practiced in restraint, and being laser focused on the protest.
Yeah.
And laser focused on articulating his point of view. Because like, the way I was out here dropping every kind of F-bomb there is and like blah, 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 blah. I just want to go on and like, kill everybody.
Right.
And so I called LeBron, called Mav. I was like, yo, I'm here with Colin. And he's telling us to, to just
chill out,
have restraint, like make sure you're articulate. Make sure that you're saying the thing that you actually want to say and you're not just acting out of anger. And that's when LeBron came with that he's more than an athlete.
Wow. That's smart.
That's how that story came
out. I feel like you can talk to that a lot just because, being a black woman in a predominantly white space as a marketer.
Yeah.
I think that's why sometimes LeBron gets so much hate because he's not quiet about his stance when it came to Black Lives Matter and everything else. When you're in those situations where like, look, I'm the only person in this room who who got to represent my people.
Right.
How are you approaching that? Are you thinking about your color? Are you thinking about what people think of you? Okay.
All the time. Like my blackness leads in everything, and I honestly do think it came from like when I was 12, from my parents who refused to assimilate. It's like it's as human beings, that's what we want to do. We want to fit in.
Right.
And it's natural to not want to be uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
It's natural to not want people to ask you 12 times how to say your name or like, diminish your experiences or be like, oh, your food looks gross. Like it's easy to be like, let me just have some pizza. And you could just call me B.
Right.
It's easy to do that. But because I wasn't raised that way, it was then practiced for me to be uncomfortable in these rooms and still show up with like my full blackness and still show up with like my culture and be like, hey, look, that's not going to work because X, Y, and Z thing. To be in rooms with Tim Cook at Apple, we're talking about Apple Music and, trying to decide whether or not on the Apple keynote stage, what music I'm going to play to introduce the world to this new platform. And I was like, I'm not using the Beastie Boys because no disrespect to the Beastie Boys, but I'm not a fan. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I like other kind of music. So
Absolutely.
I played like Rapper's Delight because I was like, hey, the first recorded, like that's our national
Legendary,
anthem in hip hop, okay? And I played a song by, one of my best friend's daughter because I'm that auntie. And I played a song from Ghana because I'm that person.
Right.
And easily, that room was 5,000 white boys in Silicon Valley who control whether or not the stock rises or falls. And I still made those choices. So I think for me, it's like, look, I think we are better off when we show up in the entirety of ourselves.
Yep.
Because then why else are you there?
Absolutely.
What's the point of you being there?
I totally agree.
You might as well go get homegirl.
Yeah.
Let her come and sit in this seat.
Are you ever worried about losing opportunities with that approach?
And I have.
Nice.
Oh, I have.
I think that comes with it. I think that comes with it.
Yeah,
sure.
And look, that's not easy either. I say it kind of casually, but that's not an easy thing. And I won't pretend like I haven't cried. or been frustrated or angry when, you know, somebody's like, oh, we don't know about her. She's a little too aggressive.
Right.
A little too black.
Right.
you know?
Hey, you got a lot of responsibility because you have a daughter as well, right?
Yeah.
So what makes you keep still staying with that approach? Although you miss an opportunity, just nice you're crying. What makes you keep going like, you know what, I'm still doing it anyway?
Oh, man. I think some of it is just like my own, like I'm a revolutionary at heart.
There you go.
You know,
That's
I don't
what I
know
like to hear.
any other way to be.
Yep.
And I have a hard time just adjusting to somebody else's.
Conforming.
Yeah, I just have a hard time doing that. I wish sometimes I could. Because let me tell you, I think the truth of the matter is that, yes, I have a great resume, but could it have been even better if I had simply conformed? I'm sure.
Wow.
You know, but my daughter is also watching me as a single mom, as someone who is highly ambitious, that doesn't hide my ambition, even from her. And I want her to approach her life that way. You know, it's like there have been a few times where, you know, it's been a little bit controversial when I talk about parenting.
Right.
Because, you know, I say that my daughter knows I'm the most important person in my life.
Right.
And most parents would say, oh, my kids are the most important thing. I'm like, no, absolutely not. I'm the most important person in my life. And if I'm great, and if I'm happy, and I feel like I'm excelling, then that's going to be great for her.
Absolutely.
There are so many people who are walking around this planet who are the consequence of somebody's dissatisfaction with their life.
Wow, yeah.
How many parents do you know who say, oh, you should be grateful because I sacrificed so you could do.
Yeah.
And then here you go, walking around the planet with guilt and this burden on your shoulders because your parents didn't live their life?
Right.
I'm like, absolutely not.
So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I want to live my life fully and happily. And I believe as a result of my happiness and my confidence and my excitement about my own life, she has a better life.
All right. Everybody around you have a better life at that point.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
And then I also
1000%.
tell her that. I'm like, hey, look, you are the most important person in your life. So that she never gets into a situation where she's disrespected, whether that's professionally or personally or romantically, where she considers herself less than and comes in like, you know, small and like, you know, trying to hide. I'm like, I want her to walk around with her chest out, head up. You know, she's the most important person.
So, well, one of the things I want to talk about or touch on is you talked about how you lost opportunities. Did those opportunities ever come back around to
No.
you? No? Oh. I was hoping you like, they could kick it. Apple came back around.
No. I remember like there was, gosh, where did I even start with this? There became a point in my career where I stopped having to like send resumes out, right? Or like I would just get the call.
Yeah.
People would be like, hey, look, there's this opportunity, you know, they're interested in you, bye-bye. You go, you meet, you know, CEO, you meet the board, and then boom, you have an offer, you know?
Absolutely.
And
you deserve it, by the way.
Well, thank you very much. And there was this particular company that I actually wanted to work for. They hadn't called me, but I was interested in them. And so I made the calls to, you know, some other folks. I called somebody on their board. I was just like, hey, like if ever there's conversation about a vacancy at the top job in marketing, I want to be considered.
Right.
And I got feedback that the CEO considered me way too arrogant and that he could never work with me. And I was like, yo, like what? You know, but it was like, and I'm saying it nicely. He said some very mean things.
I can imagine.
And I again, I won't lie to you and pretend like I didn't sit on my couch and wonder like, oh man, maybe I should be a little softer or, you know, like maybe I shouldn't talk about myself so big. Like maybe I should just be a little, you know, because like if he feels that way, then maybe this, you know.
Make everybody feel comfortable.
Yeah. And a few years after that, I was working at Endeavor when Netflix came looking for me.
Right.
So Ted Sarandos, who is the CEO of Netflix, he reached out and said that they wanted to make a change in their marketing and he wanted me to have the top job, be the global chief marketing officer of Netflix.
Right.
And we were in a conversation. We were at dinner, like privately. And he was like, I want you to know that I'm going to make you a very large offer. However, everybody I've talked to said you are impossible to work with.
Wow.
And that I shouldn't hire you.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, like what? You know, and the thing is that like when you get to that level, the world is so small. So I was like, I know who he's talking about. You know, and it was so painful because I was just like, man, I give hit after hit after hit. Like I am winning and winning and winning. How dare you?
Right.
You know, like try to diminish my wins because you think I'm too arrogant. You think I'm too like full of oh my God. So, but in those instances, I mean, I certainly considered like, you know what, maybe I should just be more humble.
I mean, it came back around, though. I mean, maybe not with that company, but ultimately,
Yeah.
you obviously who you are now, but it all came back around.
Yeah,
So
I mean, ultimately, look, you got to be where you're wanted.
Right.
You know,
That's
ultimately,
all the time. Yeah, that goes business and relationships.
But you know, people be out here fighting for their lives, like trying to make themselves fit into something because, like, oh, you know, this is the type of person I want. Whether that's in a romantic relationship or a business, like, oh, you know, I want this person to be da-da-da. And then here you go pretending to be that.
Right. 100%.
And 6 months later, here comes the real you.
Yep. And someone's going to be unhappy. It's going to be you
Somebody's
and
gonna
the
be
person.
angry.
Someone's going to be very unhappy.
You know what I'm saying? So I kind of feel like at the end of the day, like it hurts when, you know, the way I am, my blackity black self, you know, is sometimes not wanted. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? That's who I am, though. So if you didn't want that, there's no way for me to change it just so you can like me.
Gotcha.
Or so you can give me a job.
Gotcha. Are you watching any NBA, WNBA? Are you watching?
Yes,
Are you?
Of course.
Oh. What do you think of the marketing for the WNBA right now?
Okay.
I really, because I believe that basketball is different from football.
Yes.
Football, you really fall in love with the logo because everyone has helmets on. Basketball,
yes,
you got to tell a story about people to keep people attracted. Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So
main characters.
So I feel like the WNBA doesn't have enough stories around their players.
Well, you're right in that, like, for certain sports, it requires that you create main characters that people can cheer for, or that they can make villains, or any of that type. You know, it's like casting a movie. You know, where it's just like you need all the different players, literal and figurative, you know, to actually make the thing work.
Right.
And so there isn't enough of the diversity of personalities to make people feel like, oh, you know what, I can find somebody that I can identify with.
Right.
And the thing that is really weird about marketing is that the best marketing makes you think that it was your idea. You know, the best marketing is when you think you love Apple, or you think you love your iPhone because you love it, not because I told you to love it.
Wow. Okay.
That's the best marketing.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, is what happens.
Yep.
It's like we feed you information and then make you feel passionate and loyal about it. And that's what is required for the WNBA, you know, which is just like you can be who you are and still find somebody within the WNBA whose story you identify with.
Right.
That's the power of marketing.
Yeah.
And right now, or not just right now, but for a long time, the focus has been that the WNBA doesn't have as many sharp edges as the NBA.
Right.
You know, so you will not forgive these women for their brashness or their harshness as you would a man, right? Because at the end of the day, you're still working with societal concepts of, like, you know, being a little more subservient and nicer. You know, so it's like, yeah, it's easy for Angel Reese to be a villain.
That's what I was going to get to. Like a woman like Angel Reese,
Yeah.
right? Do you think what direction you think she should go in as far as her marketing her own brand? Or should it be a thing where she's doing everything she's doing now, like you know, popping out on music videos
Oh,
or
absolutely.
whatnot.
I think she should go full force, lean all the way in.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Wear some little short dresses that she likes to wear, show the body,
Yep.
like be at parties, dance on tables, drink a little bit, you know, get mad on the court, like do all of the things.
Yeah.
You know, because you need somebody like that to attract an audience that also feels that. And you need Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, you need
to be who she is, you know?
Absolutely.
And then you need to fill in all of these other characters so that like the wider audience of sports and also just of pop culture, by the way, are attracted to them. Now, that's what makes like any league or any company, any brand really live, is that like you need the diehards who can argue with you about, you know, their percentages, like how Caitlyn is performing versus Angel or whatever, you know, who can go stat to stat, quote, quote, quote. But you need pop culture of people who can't quote what the stats are and only know like this brand around the person, right? So that you have people who today will argue who's the greatest NBA player of all time.
Yeah. Yep.
And everybody's top 10 looks different.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so that's what we do on our show a lot, or our pages or channels or whatever. We do a lot of debating.
Yes.
But I believe that we're not always debating the stats, right? Like, so we just use Jordan and LeBron as example.
Yes.
LeBron has an amazing career. Jordan had an amazing career.
Yeah.
But the stories are different.
Yes.
Jordan is this underdog who couldn't make the high school team and became All-American. And now he's a superstar.
Right.
LeBron was the chosen one. He was the king immediately. So I feel like a lot of people side with Jordan. Yeah. Yes, he's great. We could talk about skills and nitpick and six rings. We can do that all day.
Yeah.
But a lot of people side with him because they feel like they identify with the Jordan underdog story. Or the Kobe Bryant, I'm going to work harder than everyone versus I'm a king when I arrived here. Do you think they did a good job with the marketing for LeBron or like the branding for LeBron when it comes to that? Because I think that's what LeBron really fights. Yeah. He fights that I'm a king.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Here's the real trick about marketing is that you gotta like drink the Kool-Aid. You know, you gotta believe in the story.
Yep, absolutely.
Otherwise, no one else is gonna believe it. So I'm like, look, LeBron, you are not the underdog.
All right.
You should be the king.
Yep.
And believe it, talk about it, talk that way.
Yeah, he's 6'9", 260, he ain't underdog, brother.
Look. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, you know, it's like, and just to like give an analogy, it's like Pepsi versus Coke, okay? Where it's like, Pepsi's always been the underdog. Coke is like the global king.
Yep.
However, their businesses are almost identical in terms of size and power and financial revenue. Yeah. You know, but the position that, and because I worked there, I could tell you that the positioning is always like, act like number two. Even if you're number one. Even when we beat them at their own game, we were still like, well, no, you know, we just have to fight our way in and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so the idea about branding is that, like, choose your lane.
Right.
Be very specific in it. I think the other mistake that sometimes, you know, athletes make in their branding is that they think they need to appeal to everybody in order to win, and that's
very
not true.
Yeah, that's very true. I don't think you need to appeal to everyone.
No.
You actually need the people who don't like you just as much as people who do like you.
Yeah. But it's also that, like, you have to stay in your brand lane. You know, it's like the idea that, and again, I use a lot of analogies to help, you know, describe the concepts I have, which is just like, you can look at two cities, right, and say, okay, Paris versus Barcelona. And somebody would be like, oh, Paris, that's the city of love, and blah, 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 you know? It's like, it's so romantic. And maybe you're not like a romance, you know, you don't like romance, but when somebody says Paris, you're still like, oh, yeah, that's like the city of love.
Right.
You know, you might not want to go.
I've been to both. I choose Barcelona. I like Barcelona.
You see what I'm saying? But here you go. Yeah. You know, like, I choose this one. This one's better. Blah, blah. You're willing to fight and argue over that.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to personal brands, it's very much the same way. Where it's just like, if it's LeBron and let's say LeBron is Paris, you don't have to say that he's the best. You don't have to believe that he's the greatest, but you need to be able to identify what he stands for.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's, I think, the challenge of marketing in sport, especially when it comes to specific athletes.
Yeah.
And that's why I wish the WNBA would continue to sort of lean in on, not be afraid of breaking some of these societal stereotypes of
Right.
like women not being able to have some hard edges.
I agree with you. Now, we got a segment called Brainwash to Think Elite.
Oh.
So, in this segment, we talk about, problems and how we solved them. So, my question to you is marketing failures. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure you did. Maybe not.
Uh-huh.
Have you had any ideas that you thought, this is going to be great?
Oh.
Give me the budget for it, and it didn't work?
Yo.
And if that happened to you, what's the process? What's the mindset? How did you get over it? Walk us through it.
Man, I have way too many to even count, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Like some real big duds that were
Really?
ugly. Disgusting.
CMO.
Yo, I tell you.
you
Some
Netflix,
big stinkers,
Bad
yo.
Up Eve, my boat. You?
God, yes. Some very high profile.
Which one stands out the most? Where
God, I want to throw up when I think about it.
And you gotta tell us the idea too. Like what idea you thought was great,
This is so
and you
awful.
was like,
It's so terrible. Okay, so here's what happened. This is again when I was at Apple, okay? And I was riding high because then we had launched Apple Music. It was winning. It's all my ideas were like bam, bam, bam. Everything I came up with was freaking gold, okay?
Right.
And Mary J. Blige was going through a hard time, and she's a friend. And obviously an artist, and I want to support her. And she wanted to break out and not do an album. So I thought, we could do a TV show, like a talk show. And it was called Where's the 411? Off of her first album.
yeah,
And she wanted to interview people, and like kind of, it was like the beginnings of podcasts, but it wasn't really, right? We had a beautiful set. Like
what year was this?
2016?
2016.
Yeah.
I think I remember. I didn't watch it, but I think I remember something like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she wanted to interview a bunch of people. We had a whole list, it was like J-Lo come in, like, because they're friends and they talk about love and their failed relationships and, like gossip a little bit. Like we had a whole list of people, like amazing. And she wanted to interview Hillary Clinton, which at the time Hillary was anticipating like running for president. And I was like, okay, look, I don't know how this is going to work because this is what, it's like, this is a big political interview. Like, you freaking NBC Nightly News can't get Hillary Clinton, and you want us to go get Hillary Clinton to sit down and talk to you? But, I had to work my magic.
You got it.
And got Hillary.
Wow.
Secret Service and all. Okay? They were standing on the buildings. They had the snipers out. It was crazy.
Wow.
And Mary's inside of the studio. She's nervous as hell, but she looks great. She's got her questions ready. Homegirl, she's came to the studio early, like sitting there ready, got glasses on and everything, fake glasses, but they make her look smarter, right? And she had maybe the interview of her life with Hillary. She knocked that joint out the park. I mean, it was fantastic. She did an amazing job. There was one moment where Mary asked Hillary, like, Black people are suffering in this country. What are you going to do, to help? And Hillary was like, she gave an answer, which was good. There's a song by Bruce Springsteen called American Skin. And for whatever reason, they were having like that intimate moment. And I think Hillary was the one who said that was one of her favorite songs. And so, and it's really, Bruce Springsteen wrote it about Black people in the U.S. and mistreatment. And Hillary said it was one of her favorite songs. And so Mary decided to sing it a cappella with no warm up, sitting in her chair, like not standing, nothing. Sang the hell out of this song. Like it felt like Negro spiritual. Like I was like, damn, I had the goosebumps everywhere. It was crazy. I got the shot of Hillary, a single tear rolling down her face. It was the most beautiful moment.
Really?
So when it came time to promote the show, now of course Mary went on to interview a whole bunch of pop stars and everybody else. And I said, okay, this is the one I'm going to use. I'm going to use that clip of Mary singing to Hillary Clinton and Hillary crying. And I'm going to put it on the first debate between Hillary and Donald Trump. So I cut the 60-second commercial.
Uh-huh.
I bought the time on the debates. Oh, God. And unfortunately, Mary had also, in recent memory, done this Burger King commercial where she was singing and it was about chicken.
Mm.
Oh, man. And I just did not connect the two things because I thought they were so different to me, you know? So I cut the commercial, put it inside of the debate, and you know what's funny? Actually, I was having a drink with Mav when the Mav Carter when the commercial came on air, and I remember my phone blowing up because people were like, "This is the most cool thing I've ever seen in my life. Why is Mary singing, shucking and jiving for Hillary Clinton? She's singing for chicken, and now she's singing for this white woman. And who did this? And blah, 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 blah." Oh, my God. They ate her up and ate me up in the process. Jeez. And so I was sitting with Mav, and he was like, "Yeah, you got to call her." I was like, "I can't. Like, I'm too scared. Like, this is terrible. Like, she's already having a hard time.
Right.
Then here I go, like, trying to help her, and I make this call. But I thought it was such a good idea because she was so brilliant at the song, at the moment.
Yeah, so you was just in the moment.
Yeah. But what I didn't anticipate was the fact that, like, we were in a terrible political climate. Everybody was at odds. Mary had done that commercial for Burger King, where she was singing, and people didn't like that. And also, it was just the wrong moment.
Wow.
And they wanted an album of breakup from Mary. They didn't want her singing to Hillary Clinton about Bruce Springsteen's song.
Yeah, that's usually her brand.
So I had to apologize to Hillary Clinton. I had to apologize to Bruce Springsteen. I had to apologize to Mary J. Blige.
Wow.
And it was probably one of the toughest times in my career. And
after the apology, how'd you handle it as a...
Man.
You know, this is your craft, this is your career. Did you start working out
more?
more?
No, right. I mean, it was such a big hit to my ego. You know, my confidence took a really big beating over that. Because I think when, you know, it's like sport. Like if you're used to making threes and then, you know, you miss in the big game at the big moment, like an air ball. You know, like it's not even close. You know, you were wide open. Like you just what?
Yep. It's tough. Definitely an ego hit.
Then
definitely.
And then you did it again and it didn't go. And you did it again and didn't go. And then like, what do you want to do now? You don't want to shoot. You know, the confidence that you have to go again, like you really have to like dive deep and remind yourself like, okay, this is only one idea. This was only one moment. This was only one basket, you know? And but it did take me a long time to recover. And sometimes I still, like if I have an idea and I'm just like, yo, let me just make sure that the environment is clear. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me just...
What kind of commercial she did back in the day?
That part, you know? So to some degree, I feel like those big failures, and like I said, I have several of them, they did a good job of also helping me to be more aware of my environment, more aware of circumstance, and just more aware of like my own shortcomings versus just being like, I could do anything.
Right.
You know, like I have great ideas. Like there's nothing I can do that doesn't fail.
No, that's great.
But it's true though. Sometimes you do fail.
You do fail, but you get better. You get better. You get stronger.
You learn more. You got to use those.
Absolutely.
To make it so much better.
Right.
I will never put a commercial in a debate ever again in my life.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's all good.
Especially not one where Donald Trump is present. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Might be good to take it easy on that area. You know? So the last segment we got is quick questions, quick rapid fire questions. Like who you got, as far as like what player you got.
Yes. Okay. I'm ready.
LeBron or Jordan?
Oh. Come on, how you start there?
We got to start there. I mean, that's because I feel like that's what everybody want to know.
Oh my God. Oh, this is a hard one to say.
That is the easy one.
Because what if he hears this?
I hope so.
Jordan.
You got Jordan?
We
got Jordan.
I know.
Wow.
I'm sorry, LeBron.
I'm surprised.
Oh, LeBron, I love you still.
I'm surprised.
Oh my God, do not show this to anyone. I'm kidding.
Listen, I'm hoping to see it. Brian, you heard it.
Oh my God,
I thought she was going to go with you.
I love you though.
Now, you went to some New York games.
Yes.
Patrick Ewing or Shaq?
Ewing.
You going with Ewan too?
Yeah.
Wow. What you
Yes.
like about Ewan?
What about Ewan?
Yeah.
His dominance.
Shaq was the most dominant.
See what I'm saying? This
Can we
is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of argument that we about to have because no, Ewing.
No.
And he also like broke the mold. I feel like, he came at a time when people didn't do what he was doing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So he kinda
I'm gonna go with
set
Shaq.
the
I
standard.
don't agree with your answer.
Well, clearly you don't agree with my answer.
But Ewan is definitely, Ewan is definitely an elite big man of all time.
Yes.
Definitely.
Of all time.
So I understand it. And there's a little bias too because you went to New York.
I know.
So I was a little biased.
And Ewing, I mean, at that time also, again, another king of New York.
Absolutely.
So.
Last one.
Uh-huh.
Steph Curry
Uh-huh.
or Reggie Miller?
Ooh.
You guys can see some Reggie Miller games.
Oh my God. Oh. All right. Reggie Miller.
You go with Reggie too? You go with that dog the whole time, huh? I'm sure nobody's going to agree with you, but
Oh God.
But
Can you imagine?
But
Reggie
I
Miller. No, but how
understand
can
it.
you disagree with Reggie Miller?
Reggie was a juggernaut. He was
enormous.
Yes.
Enormous. Think about the run that he had.
Yes, he was a trailblazer
Like the
for a lot of
caliber
shooters.
above everyone
Absolutely.
else. And I'm not saying that Steph is not high caliber. And whatnot.
No,
I mean,
for
obviously
sure.
he is. But like, I think it's sometimes you also have to just compare in the time.
Yeah,
And
for
you're
sure.
like, look, athletes have evolved over time. There are people doing stuff today that could never have done it 20 years ago, 40 years ago, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so you're comparing to their counterparts and their contemporaries and being like, how far above them were they?
Right.
Versus it's like now, it's like, yeah, maybe if they were side by side, we'd be like, oh, Steph is going to crush him. Maybe not crush is strong. But,
Yeah.
but like, he's going to be so obvious. But the thing is that you got to look at his contemporaries
Yeah.
and be like, no one could touch Reggie Miller.
Yeah, that's true. When Reggie Miller was, especially when he was
No
playing
one.
against the Knicks. When y'all was going to the Knicks games, you remember?
Okay, look, Spike tried to trip him.
Yeah.
Like, this shit, he was like,
Their beef was they had an infamous
oh
beef.
man, they
we
had
all
a
loved it.
serious beef. But Reggie Miller, yes, that's my choice.
Last two questions for you.
Uh-huh.
What work are you the most proud of?
Oh, what work? This is gonna be a corny answer.
No answer is corny.
My work as a mom.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I thought you would say that.
Yeah.
I thought you would say that. I think
I'm really, really proud of this.
once I'm starting to as I get older.
Yeah.
I used to think making money, have my own business. I
Yeah.
thought that was like the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Now that when this come out, I'll be 40.
Yeah.
I realized that family is
Yeah.
definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
I always realized it, but I even realize it more now.
Yes.
That family is the most important.
It's so,
that's the
like,
best work you can do.
Best work, and I'm so proud of my daughter.
Yeah.
I think she's just a fantastic human being.
Shout out to her.
Oh,
I hope
shout out to her.
hope she enjoyed the merch.
She's fantastic. Yes, she will.
And last question for
Uh-huh.
you: when it's all said and done, when your jersey already in your jersey
Hall
already
of
in the
Fame
Hall of
already.
Fame
You know what I
already.
mean? Yes.
What do you want people to remember you as?
Oh
Remember
man.
you for, I should say.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna get very serious.
Go for it.
Okay. Because unfortunately, my husband passed away from cancer when he was just about to be 44. And it changed the way that I look at life for a number of reasons. But it changed mostly my relationship with like urgency, not that like I want to live life fast and like, oh my God, like when we you just sat down, we were talking about like, you see short life expectancy. So
Right.
it makes you want to do things like right now, get it done because you might not have time.
Right.
I don't have that kind of rush about speed, but I do have intense desire and urgency about doing what I want to do right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
That like I want life to be as big as possible. So it's like when I was standing in the, in the receiving line, my daughter was 4. I'm like holding her in my arms, and people are coming by and shaking my hand and being like, I'm so sorry. He died too young.
Wow.
And I was, of course, in deep grief. And, but at the same time, I was thinking, I was like, I never want to go. And people would say that like, she didn't have enough time. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I want my legacy. I want people to look at my life, regardless of when I go. I want them to be like, God damn, do you see how she lived?
Yeah.
Like that. Wow. The things she did. I don't want anyone to ever, at any point that I go, like to come to my funeral and be like,
say she didn't
gone
live
too soon.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe they'd be like, damn, I wish she'd been around 10 more years. We could see what she's going to do more, you know?
Absolutely.
But like, I want people to look at my life and be like, I cannot believe this girl's life.
Wow.
That's the legacy.
Well, that's what we're saying. That's what
Amen.
we're saying. Well, you are a true scorer. You are a true scorer. What a scorer is a person, like, just use basketball as an analogy. A scorer can shoot. They can create their own shots. They can score without the basketball. Or excuse me, score, moving without the basketball.
Yes.
And the same thing in life. You got to sometimes create your own opportunities.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to move without the ball, meaning you not always the CEO coming in, but you can work your way up and you can still find multiple ways of scoring. So you are a scorer, and welcome to Score Society.
That's amazing. Thank you.
No problem.
I'm honored.
Thank
I've
you.
not yet been in a society like this. So
yeah, it's an elite society.
I'm about to change my LinkedIn bio.
What you gonna do?
And put it in there. Yeah. I'd be like, I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm part of the Score Society.
Score Society.
I didn't know you knew that. You think I'm playing? I'm not.
I want you to. Look,
you think I'm playing?
I know you serious.
Watch. You can see
I
an
know
update.
you. I know you.
It'll
you
be
serious.
like Bozoma Saint John updated her bio.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you.
you.
Bro, I appreciate you coming.
Oh, this
really
was so
do.
great.
This is fun.
I love this conversation.
I'm glad this happened. So
yes.
Like I said, divine timing.
Amen.
I was getting to. We was getting to this.
Amen. I made it.
All right, there you have
Mama,
it.
I made it.
There you have it, another interview. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. And so next time, let's continue to think elite and together. Welcome to Score Society.